So what e-bike should I get?
Well, that depends.
On what?
Well, lots of things.
Oh, thanks, that's really helpful.
Well, you started it.
What do you mean?
By asking a stupid question. Welcome to episode 2 of Oldmaninbaggies, and this month we hope to find out if that is such a stupid question. And I'm going to be riding an entry-level hardtail and finding out can it cut it on the demanding trails of Welvanpas in the Western Cape. Let's jump into it. I was recently invited down to Bike Addict in Malmesbury in the Western Cape to meet ex-pro, friend and owner Johan Raby. Now, Bike Addict is a serious bike shop. They've always got lots of stock and great deals. And don't worry, if Malmesbury is too far to travel, then everything is available online. So Johan took me through the basics of my steed for the next few weeks, a Bianchi T-Tronic hardtail. I won't bore you with all the details here, but I will put a link in the description if you want to know every last angle and millimetre about this bike.
But this one has got the air shock and the 1x12 SRAM with the Shimano motor. 500 watt battery, obviously it's a hardtail, and yeah, they're great value for money bikes. So first of all, you turn it on over here, the screen will come on there. So over here you can change your different modes. Currently it's off now. You've got your eco mode, trail mode and boost mode, and in these different modes you can check your range as well. That's just your distance, odometer, so that's your range over there. And as you go up in the modes, the range will come down, 70 k's in trail and 47 in boost. Over there is the charging port. Take the charger, stick it in this way, and there it is. If you finish charging the bike, make sure you close this up so water doesn't get inside there.
Once handed over, I was soon on my way and ready to ride. So I've come out to a local climb called Beulah. It's not very far and it's certainly not technical. In fact, you can see by the concrete strips that it's just very, very steep. It's about 1 kilometre long, and I'm afraid I'm still in the how much easier is it on an e-bike mode, so please excuse me for my indulgence. But this for me is a definite 95% effort climb. I've got my camera gear and everything in the rucksack. I'm going to stick it on boost mode and let's see what it's like at the top of the hill. Okay, so I'm going to have to stop trying to compare an e-bike to a normal bike because this is just a joke. Heart rate is obviously still up, but I'm just flying up this thing rather than 5 kilometers an hour in granny gear. Okay, see you at the top. So that's the top of Beulah. I'm still working. Actually, my heart rate was 89% as opposed to 96, 97. You can hear that I'm out of breath, but yeah, it took me like a couple of minutes rather than 7 or 8 minutes. Okay, so I apologise. I know I can't keep comparing an e-bike to an analogue bike, but in my defence, this is only the second e-bike that I've been on, and this ride is particularly tough, hilly and challenging. Okay, so I've stopped here because this is the first thing I'm trying to ride on an e-bike, on any e-bike, that I've never been able to ride on my normal bike. A very steep switchback, but it also comes off quite a long climb. As you see, I've climbed up from the valley. It's quite sketchy, quite narrow,
So I'm already out of breath by the time I get here, and I've never ever been able to make this. It is wet. I haven't gone up and had a look at it. I hope it's still there. I'm just going to ride it blind, and let's see how we get on. Well, even with my foot coming out of the cleat, I still managed to ride it.
So I've said it before, this is not a bike review channel, but I've ridden the bike for 3 weeks, so these are the things that I really liked and the things that I didn't like so much about the Bianchi. First off, and the main thing, is that the bike just works. It's got a quiet, smooth, tried and tested motor system from Shimano. I like the SRAM 1x12 drivetrain, I'm used to that. As a whole, I like the classic Bianchi colour scheme, and I really like the top tube styling. The bike also has a simple, uncluttered cockpit, which is fantastic, with the bike computer tucked away by the handlebar stem. And as for meh, as much as I really like the top tube styling, I find that the bottom bracket and the motor integration is actually a bit agricultural. I'm sure a lot of you will like that type of look, but for me it just seemed to be a bit at odds with the smooth styling of the top tube. You can tell that it's a more of an entry-level bike by the little things, obviously no dropper seat post. It's got a fiddy little charge cover flap, which I'm sure will break off in time. But that was about it. So let's sum up my time on the bike. Bianchi, as most of you know, and if you don't you should, is one of the oldest existing bike brands in the world. It was started in 1885 by Edoardo Bianchi, who famously said that the best way to test a product is to race with it. And although I didn't race too hard, I really did enjoy my time on the bike. I quickly got used to the fact that there was no rear suspension and no dropper post. I like the no-nonsense, turn it on and go, and I really felt as if I was riding a normal bike. So let's cut to the chase. Is this bike for you? And this is where I want to answer my question that opened the show. So this bike, it retails at 74,000 Rand. Bike Addict, they have it on a special for 60,000. I said they've got lots of good deals. I would say that if you ride a lot of easy to medium trails with not too much heavy technical stuff, and you keep your rides under 45 kilometers, then this bike is absolutely perfect. I did ride it on some quite technical and steep stuff, and I found that it handled it well. But having to use the boost mode more with a 504 watt-hour battery, it will bring down your riding times. So I would just be aware of that. Other than that, it's a great bike. Finally, I must say a massive thank you to Bike Addict and Johan Rabi for setting me up on the Bianchi. It really was a lot of fun. So what have I learnt this month? Looks can be deceptive. Just because a bike doesn't have every bell and whistle, it doesn't mean it can't be a lot of fun. Bring a smile to your dial and make you want to ride more trails. Having said that, next month I'll be riding a bike that does have every bell and whistle, the Specialized Turbo Levo SL, and I'll be riding it in my first 2-day stage race. So don't miss that. In the meantime, this is the Oldmaninbaggies telling you to get out there and ride more trails.